Hello, students. Good evening. How are you all doing today? Very quickly, of course, before we move on, we need to do a quick mic check. So I'd like to know if you guys can hear me properly. Can you all see the PPT behind me? Well, I can, so I'm pretty sure you guys can as well. So if you can just give me a heads up, and if I know that all of these things are in place, let us begin with the passage that we have. But clearly, before we begin with the passage, there is always chatting. So we talk. We'll take, say, about 10 minutes to very quickly just figure out how are we doing, how has life been lately, what are the things that have been bothering you guys, how is the CLAT preparation coming through, how many of you all are getting like really worked up. So something that I've been mentoring our students lately and understood that, the 5 months seems to be like a very dreadful number, and people are not really coming around the idea very positively. So are you guys also at the back foot of it? And has there been anything that has lately, been of an interruption or anything which is just, an aberration in your performance? Anything that you'd wish to talk about? Because instead of, we picking up all of these in between, I guess a good idea is to just take the first 10 minutes to be talking and just figuring out how, how life is, how things seem to be. And then maybe, of course, we can, of course, begin with whatever we have for today. Um, what's up? Just give me something. Let me know what's really happening. Have you guys been practicing enough reading comprehension? Well, from practice, I actually come on to this. So, what happens is that on a daily basis, we get a little confused as to how should our day look like. How must we really be planning the day and ensuring that, our day is judiciously utilized. Now, I want to break a taboo topic and I want to reintroduce or, sort of help you guys understand a more serving and a more fulfilling agenda that you need to keep in mind. Now, there are basically uh, two ways in which a person tends to orient oneself around, how the routine is supposed to look like. So there are, and majority of the people tend to belong to the first half of it, which are called the ones who tend to be making a timetable. Now, it is a very good idea to make a timetable because a timetable keeps you in check. It keeps you in discipline. But with the timetable, what happens is you have to follow it to the T. Like, you really have to go in a beeline when it comes to following the timetable because even a slight deflection of any of the task is going to just put you off. It is really going to, distract you from all of the other tasks. And that is when we do not know how to come back to our game plan. So, which and that is exactly why you must have seen timetables are very short-lived. People tend to be making the timetables, but nobody really follows those timetables anywhere after a week or 10 days because we're so lost in that transit that we don't really know where to cope up from and where to come back from. So as good this idea is to be making the timetable, a more effective way to ensure that you are able to and you're able to meet your basic requirements or whatever be your pointers that you picked out for the day is instead of making a timetable, you make a task table. Now, a lot of you guys must have previously heard of this also, but this is a more reasonable and this is a more doable concept. When you make a task table, all what you are supposed to be doing is you need to set a couple of tasks for yourself. Now, when it comes to a task table, you will not allot the time to it. So, unlike a timetable, this is not time bound. This is event bound. That is, if I know that before I sleep tonight, that is the event of sleeping, these are going to be the number of tasks that I need to finish. My task table is just going to include these. Now, it is upon me if I am to, do all the tasks together, or if I am to divide it over the day, or if I am to sort of, suffocate myself and just finish it. But whatever said and done, I am going to ensure that I do finish that. With the task tables, even if we deflect a little from whatever our set routine is, it is very easy for us to pick up from where we have left because we are not really chasing time here. Unlike a timetable wherein, if you've lost that time, you begin to feel that burden. And sometimes what happens is we just succumb to the burden, we give up. A task table does not let you give up. So if I know that, okay, I seem to be having a very heavy day today, or that I have a lot of distractions lined up in the day, and I have to make sure that I still need to find time to be able to do this, I will reasonably make lesser targets for the day. My list of agendas are not going to be lengthy. They're going to maybe one or two, so that I don't feel guilty at the end of the day. And I have also done some good. I've also been able to, use the day, maybe not to the maximum potential, but still a favorable potential. And this is how a task table becomes better. So whether you want to try it or not, that's going to be upon you. But if out of the two, you are to really, you want to really identify how the day, how is it that the entire planning of the day should look like, then at that point of time, I guess a task table will come in more handy. And it'll really be far more productive effort that you're going to be putting in vis-a-vis, of course, our timetable. But like I said, if you are a disciplined person, if you are committed enough, and if you feel that it's the timetable that works better for you, please go ahead with the timetable. None of the two techniques are bad. It's just that, the times that we live in, we have to identify and we have to understand and make peace with the fact that we cannot be these robots just sitting in front of the screen or sitting with our RSMs and just doing it all day long. There are a lot of things which a timetable might not adjust, but a task table will very comfortably adjust those other things as well. And something that we did talk about in the previous class as well, the CLAT examination is not about reading 12, 13 hours a day. You're not doing a UPSC exam preparation. They require 13, 14 hours of preparation. Understand why? Because their syllabus is mammoth. They have a huge, they drown in their syllabus. And if they do not put in 13 to 14 hours, they will never be able to finish the syllabus. Unlike our examination, wherein the syllabus is handful, it is scanty. But the preparation now, of course, is the practice that you have to engage yourself in. That is plenty many. So don't be those nerds or don't be too hysterical about just the idea of preparation, and don't, go about preparing day in, day out. You put in 5 hours, you put in 6 hours. It has to be quality 6 hours. And unlike any other preparation, the beauty of CLAT is that it has reduced tremendously in terms of the syllabus. It has increased the same topic in terms of practice. So 3 years back, until the CLAT pattern had really changed, you would have seen that the syllabus of English or the syllabus of critical reasoning had some 10, 12 odd topics. And we were to finish all of those topics. And questions were distributed amongst those topics. But now, when we tend to be doing, it is only one topic that has been given to us, but all of the questions are going to belong to that one topic. So now, instead of extensively practicing, we got to ensure that it is going to be the depth of our practice that matters. And which is why don't become, like I said, don't become these fanatic people who are just into studying and that is it that they feel their entire day should look like. No, make tasks, make reasonable tasks, make doable tasks, make the kind of task which you can reach. Let them be reachable tasks, so that at least you sleep a good night's sleep and you feel that sort of confidence, right? Okay. So, ma'am, I've recently enrolled in LE and wanted to know how to start the preparation of English. So, Javed, for English, all what you have to do is just start with reading. And reading doesn't come with a syllabus again. Pick up the newspaper and begin to read. If you're done with the newspapers, or if that is something that you're doing on daily basis and you have the scope to be increasing your bandwidth of reading, start reading articles. Novel maybe is not a very good idea unless you have like a super good reading speed. Because if you have that, then I think novels can also be a good source of reading. But if not that, pick up articles. Since we don't have grammar and since we don't have any of the other things in English, and it is only the reading comprehension that is asked, reading comprehension again can just be started from the RSMs. You have to know RSM 1 is going to be classroom RSM, and all of the other RSMs are for your own practice. The RSMs are an increasing level of LODs. So all that is expected out of you is that you start with the RSMs and make sure that you're doing one assignment on daily basis and also doing your reading. Reading the comprehension is not reading. Reading for the sake of reading is reading. So I need you to be reading the newspaper. I need you to be reading the articles. That is what you have to engage with reading, right? Even to the extent that if reading is something that you're not very comfortable with and it seems to be like a very boring activity, then at that point of time, you can also watch movies. You can watch movies, pick up the kind of genre that you know seems to be troubling for you, pick up a movie from there, and then just make sure that you have the subtitles going on. The subtitles basically are going to be the dialogues that have been mentioned. And voila, that's about it. So English is not difficult. We just have to make sure that our engagement with English is something that is on a sustained level, right? अब बस ऐसे समझो, हम लोग हिंदी इतनी अच्छी क्यों बोल रहे थे? क्योंकि बचपन से बोले आ रहे हैं, बचपन से पढ़े आ रहे हैं, इंग्लिश पढ़े आ रहे हैं, बट इंग्लिश बोले नहीं आ रहे. अगर हम लोग बचपन से आज तक इंग्लिश बोल रहे होते, probably we would have been excellent in English. Why are the Americans or the Britishers so good in English? Because that is their mode of communication since childhood. That's the only thing that they hear and understand. So we are not beneath anybody when it comes to English. It is just that we have lack of practice. Our practice needs to be on point. And for that, all that you need to be doing is reading. Get up on your reading. If reading is something that you're doing, like I said, in a sustained manner, you're going to steer clear of any of the other confusions, right? Um, Ma'am, my time in solving mocks in English is 25 minutes, but ma'am, the accuracy decreases. No, Anant. Focus on the accuracy first. Anywhere between 25 to 30 minutes is a decent time for English. There need not be any time more that you're giving. But again, I say this with the disclaimer. That does not mean that the moment the clock ticks 30 minutes, you're supposed to leave the section. If you are in a position wherein you just have to put in another 2-3 minutes and finish your number of questions, go ahead and do that. Be smart, improvise while you do the mocks. But if you think that your accuracy is decreasing, then foremost what you have to focus on will have to be the accuracy. स्पीड अपने आप हो जाएगी, एक्यूरेसी नहीं होगी. और अगर स्पीड खिंच गई और एक्यूरेसी नहीं हुई, then that is a it's a recipe for disaster. It will not work. So please make sure that your accuracy is in alignment with, the number of attempts. Even if that requires you to maybe in 25 minutes do only 3 passages, it's all right. Spend more time, but make sure that your accuracy remains intact. Don't chase 24 questions and decrease your accuracy. That's not the kind of arrangement that we want. Because when you do a wrong, you have to understand that not only do you get yourself, I mean, you bring back home a minus 0.25, you also lose onto that 1 mark which you could have gotten. So you are at a double loss that way. एक number तो नहीं मिला, उसके बाद वो 0.25 भी नहीं मिला. So what we have for losing is a lot more than what we have to gain. So just make sure that accuracy is what you work upon, right? So we have, so ma'am, what should I do to manage both time and accuracy? Take ample amount of time. Take 25 minutes, whatever you require. And instead of doing 4, do 3. Maybe do 2.5. Spend time. Because if you're spending time and that your answers go right, but if you don't spend time, if you're being fast with the passages and that's where your answer goes wrong, which means conceptual problem नहीं है, time का problem है. But अगर time देने के बाद भी गलत हो रहा है, which means conceptual problem है. Which again goes to say that means you will have to begin practicing. So down to the scratch, begin with on a new slate and start with your practice. Daily basis. Okay, so this is a standing instruction for all of you guys. Daily basis, you have to make sure that you are practicing as many number of questions as being asked in the CLAT examination. So if you do not wish to, practice your assignments and you don't want to do 2 or 3 assignments, make sure you're doing 24 questions at least, which is 4 passages. And with time, try and be able to sit through 4 passages in one go. Don't, shuffle between the passages because that'll, like I said, that'll naturally be able to tame you down. It'll help you anchor down yourself. And that's going to be something which is very important. The sense of discipline and obedience that comes along, that is a very different ball game altogether. So you might be very good, but if you are not good enough to be able to sit put for 2 hours and to also be able to concentrate on that many number of questions, what good is our, what good is our goodness? It makes no sense, right? Okay, so ma'am, many times I get baffled in questions and I don't understand what reasoning applied in the question. Even after reading the explanation, it is just frightening. Okay, now another very, very good, a very, very intriguing question that ways. Now, when it comes to reading the explanation and finding your error, there is a very grave mistake that a lot of you guys tend to do. It's human psychology that whenever something has been served in a platter and given to us, we will naturally tend to oblige with that piece of information and we will not begin to probe ourselves as to why. When you read the answer and then you read the explanation and you don't do any mental exercise of finding out why a certain answer seems to be wrong, this is what you are giving in. You are giving in comfort. You're giving into comfort. You don't want to do that effort of going the extra mile to be finding out where exactly the problem was. And if you are not identifying your problem area, then it is going to become a pattern. So to be able to break through this pattern, all what you have to do is you do an answer, you check for what the correct answer is, and before reading the explanation, between the two options, try and find out as to what do you think the correct answer should have been, or if you have found out that the other answer, the option that you picked up is wrong, then try and find out according to you why does the other option stand to be correct. If you are able to find out the difference between the two options, you have grown on your mistake. If you read the explanation and simply become, convinced with whatever the explanation be, you have only made yourself a victim to be falling into the same trap option once again. And that's not how you have to be. So when you have the two options, before reading the explanation, try and find out if you can identify where exactly did you go wrong. खुद की गलती जब मिल जाती है ना तो वो लंबे टाइम तक याद रहती है. You will always be like, oh, I did remember यहाँ पे कुछ गड़बड़ हुआ था, but not the other way around. So just make sure you're doing that. You're penning down, you're theorizing your mistakes, and yes, then read the explanation to be able to reinforce your concept. And if there's something more that the explanation offers, which probably you were too myopic to see, आपने देखा नहीं कि उसमें क्या explanation है, then maybe jot that down as well. That okay, this is also something that I had to make account of. But that's going to be it. If the explanation again is something that's going over your head, it's you're really caught by surprise and you're still not able to figure out, reach to your nearest faculty. Get that doubt cleared. Don't sleep over that doubt at all. So the fact that your doubt has to be cleared is absolutely important. ये तो सबसे ज़्यादा ज़रूरी चीज़ है. And in सबके अलावा, you have to first put in the effort yourself. If you will be able to find out where your mistakes are, trust me on this, the next time you will not make the same mistake again. You will make mistakes, you'll make newer mistakes. The idea is to be able to make as many mistakes as you can that you exhaust the number of mistakes. Number of mistakes ही खत्म हो जाएंगी. काम ही खत्म. Game over. That's about it. Okay. Ma'am, what we should do if we don't know the vocabulary in phrases, how to find it from the passage. Okay. Now, the vocabulary words are never to decide the meaning. They are only there to ornament the idea. It's like we wear clothes, right? Whatever we accessorize over and above is for us to look good. It's not required because we have the basic necessity, we have the bare minimum already. But whatever we do over and above is only to show ourselves in an extravagant manner. ये जो heavy words होते हैं ना vocabulary में, ये यही करते हैं passage को. ये passage की idea को establish नहीं करते हैं. ये passage की idea को और सुंदर तरीके से दिखाते हैं because these words A are very catchy. Second, these are the kinds of words, in which you don't have to write 2-3 sentences. The word in itself means that particular thing, and the word can just, it can just give thrust to the meaning that you are looking at. So these words are not going to be the ones which are going to be the deciding factors. Without the words also, you will be able to understand the why. How you are to check for the meaning of these words is by understanding the vibe of the passage. Something that we are going to be doing today. Today, while reading, we will try and identify the idea of the line and then be able to extract the contextual meaning behind it. Just to be able to see how close are we to the dictionary meaning. And once that becomes a process, it is going to be something that will stay with you for the longest of time because nobody can learn the thesaurus, nobody has an AI installed in the mind. You will always come across newer words, and for you to be able to do better, you will have to come to terms with identifying what the meaning of the word is going to be. You cannot know all words. I, being an English faculty, I come across so many words that I don't know of. But that does not deter me from not understanding the passage. I take the words as a challenge, I take it in the stride of it. I try and write the meanings of the words as to what I feel the sentence seems to be projecting. Once I'm done with the passage, I then Google those words to be finding out what the actual meaning is. For words that I get correct, I give myself a pat on the shoulder. For the ones that go wrong, I tend to reread the statement with the meaning that's given in the dictionary to be able to see कि हाँ अगर इस intention से ये statement को पढ़ा होता तो ये meaning निकल के आ जाता. Sculpt करना है ना बस. Our approach needs to be redesigned, and that is it. It will not happen overnight. It will not happen magically. It will take its own sweet time. But once it is there to stay. You will not lose of it. Okay, ma'am, something I can do for better retention, something that we did discuss in the previous passage, which was mind mapping. So please make sure that mind mapping is something that you begin. Now, how to solve questions of tones in the passage and central idea. Okay, so maybe the next class, Bhatti, I can do on central ideas. Central ideas happen to be my forte. Central idea is a longer topic at that. So we might want to spend some time doing. But point taken, I will pick up central ideas in the next class. Tone के लिए बस एक trick याद रखना. Whatever is the tone of the main idea, so shall be the tone of the passage. So upon finishing reading, quickly get a snippet idea of what is it that the main idea seems to be about. अपने tone के words को main idea से associate कर लो. जो main idea पे fix कर जाएगा, वही tone of the passage हो जाएगी. But yes, tones are normal English words. So if you do not know the meaning of the word, you might not know what the tone is. So in your head, you might know the emotion. But out of the four options that we have, which of the following is going to qualify? ये तो हम लोगों के लिए challenge ही रह जाएगा. So again, tones के साथ भी जितने words आते हैं, जितनी popular tones है, just make sure that those are something that you know. आती हुई चीज छोड़ना is not good. It's just not right. That's going to be by far that's the worst thing one can do. Not knowing and then leaving, at least you'd be like, यार आता नहीं था तो कोई मतलब नहीं. Right? Okay, all right. So with that, let us begin with the one passage that we have for today. Again, we are still on the passages of English. So we're going to pick this up. And now what we're going to do is, instead of figuring out what the words are, हम लोग पहले sentence को पढ़ के माहौल पकड़ने की कोशिश करेंगे और उसके बाद उसका meaning निकालने की कोशिश करेंगे. Reading comprehension का एक rule है, guys. One line above, one line below. So whenever you're reading the main line to be finding out what the idea is, always make sure आप एक line ऊपर पढ़ रहे हो and आप एक line नीचे भी पढ़ रहे हो. क्योंकि आपको बहुत जरूरी है जानना कि ये माहौल चालू कहाँ से हुआ, माहौल क्या है, माहौल एंड कैसे हो रहा है या माहौल आगे कैसे बढ़ रहा है. This is if this is one thing you're being very cautious about, and when I say lines, I mean full stop to full stop. So अगर वो full stop 3 line का है तो आपका 3 line ऊपर पढ़ोगे आप. Full stop to full stop is what is required. अगर उतना कर रहे हैं, so हम लोग कोई भी गलत चीज में जानबूझ के नहीं पड़ जाएंगे. We will be in a much decent position at that. Okay then, all right. Let us start. English literature is a vast and diverse field. So it is a vast and a diverse, and is a conjunction which will always talk about multiplicity. तो ये और वो multiplicity में generally क्या होता है? What is likelihood कि इसका meaning होगा वही इसका भी होगा. Because हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं? Objectify करने की ही तो कोशिश कर रहे हैं. So English literature क्या है? Vast and diverse, बहुत बड़ी और बहुत diverse है. मतलब monotonous नहीं है, बहुत सारी चीजें हैं उसमें. That has left an indelible mark on the world of letters. Now, I might not know what the word indelible tends to mean, but it is vast, it is diverse, So by default, indelible has to be something which is a positive word. And then मैंने कहा mark on the world of letters. तो world of letters में उसने अपनी एक छाप छोड़ी है, मार्क छोड़ा है ना, तो क्लियरली indelible यहाँ पे क्या हो जाएगा? Unerasable, something that you can't erase. बिकॉज अगर कोई छाप छोड़ रहा है एंड हमें समझ में आ रहा है द ग्रेटनेस ऑफ इंग्लिश, so we know that this is a very we're talking about the kind of influence in English tends to have. So indelible becomes unerasable, something that you can't wipe out. From the eloquent plays of Shakespeare. Now again, I might not know what the word eloquent means, but Shakespeare है ना, बचपन से सबको पता है शेक्सपियर हैज बीन वन ऑफ द मोस्ट रिकॉग्नाइज्ड पीपल इन इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज. सो अगर उसके बारे में बात होगी तो बाय डिफॉल्ट उसका ऑब्जेक्टिव तो अच्छा ही होगा. सो नाउ इफ दिस इज अ गुड वर्ड, आई जस्ट हैव टू सी व्हाट आर गोइंग टू बी. टू, अब आगे पढ़ते हैं, इसका मीनिंग आ जाएगा. टू द कॉम्प्लेक्स नॉवेल्स ऑफ जेन ऑस्टन एंड द प्रोफाउंड पोएट्री. सो लेट्स सी, फ्रॉम दिस टू दिस. तो अगर हम टू तक पहुंच गए और टू हमारा कॉम्प्लेक्स आइडिया है, तो फ्रॉम वन डेस्टिनेशन टू द अदर and the other destination being complex, so clearly the former part of this destination has to be something which is going to be easy, impressive. Eloquent as of a word means something which is very articulate. So Shakespeare जब भी लिखता था तो कितने ब्यूटीफुली लिखता था वो सारी चीजें. So from this easy way of putting out, this beautiful, very garnished way of giving out the ideas, to the complex novels of Jane Austen and the profound poetry of William Wordsworth. Again, everybody knows that, not the kind of person we've never heard of. And this guy was he used to write very profound poetry. So profound means deep, thoughtful. कोई भी देख लो, उसकी solitary reaper देख लो या जो भी, so you're going to see कि उसमें कितना मतलब रहता था. So it was just not about what was happening in the poem. The poems used to exhibit two ideas. One is what you read, one is what you understand. So profound becomes anything which is going to be very deep in nature. English literature offers a window into human experience. So English literature इतना expressive है, किसी भी author को उठा के देख लो, that it is a window into the human experience. That is, human experience में एक peekaboo हो सकता है. आपको शायद ह्यूमन एक्सपीरियंस के बारे में इतना पता ना हो, बट अगर आप ये अलग अलग टाइप के नॉवेल्स पढ़ लोगे, यू विल कम फेस टू फेस with what are the probable human experiences that one has. One of the luminaries of English literature is William Shakespeare. अब देखो, ऊपर ही तो विलियम शेक्सपियर की बात हुई और तारीफ हुई, तो which means one of the luminaries. So out of all of them, एक की हम लोग बात कर रहे हैं. अब अच्छा बंदा है तो clearly luminary is going to be somebody who is great, somebody who is very recognized. Comes from the word lumination. Lumination is shine, light. So one of the most popular ones, जिन पे ऑटोमेटिकली फ्लैश लाइट चली जाती है. So he's one of those very दिग्गज लोग जो नहीं कहते हिंदी में. That is the kind of idea that we get. Luminaries of English literature is William Shakespeare, often hailed as the greatest. अब देखो, greatest हो गया तो भाई one of the luminary, मतलब और भी ऐसे लोग हैं जिनकी खूब तारीफ की जाती है, बट अभी हम लोग शेक्सपियर की बात कर रहे हैं. Greatest playwriter in the history of English language. He happens to be the greatest of the lot. His work including Hamlet. अब कोई भी चीज जब कैपिटल से आ जाएगी ना, तो वो प्रॉपर नाउन बन गई. प्रॉपर नाउन का मीनिंग कभी चेंज नहीं करना, ये तो नाम है. सो उसके एक प्ले का नाम है हैमलेट. मैकबेथ अगेन कैपिटल, एंड रोमियो एंड जूलियट अगेन सी कैपिटल्स, are celebrated for their exploration of human nature, love, ambition, and tragedy. So these are a perfect medley. They're like a beautiful concoction of these human emotions. You pick up any of this, har ek story mein you will find human nature. That is, the seven vices that we have. There's love, there's ambition, and that there is tragedy. His characters, such as the tormented Hamlet and the star-crossed lovers Romeo Juliet, continue to captivate audience and readers worldwide. So we're talking a little about the characters that we have, such as the tormented. अब किसी ने भी Hamlet देखी होगी तो हमको समझ में आ जाएगा कि Hamlet में in Hamlet, of course, the protagonist was in a lot of mental suffering. So torment का मतलब ही होता है mental suffering. And the star-crossed lovers. Star-crossed का मतलब क्या होता है? No, Romeo and Juliet have always been used as allusions. They have always been used as, these names that have been the very front line. They've like been the first in the series when we talk about love. So star-crossed is their stars crossed. हिंदी में बोलते हैं हम लोग भी तो जब कुंडली उंडली में तारे मिलाते हैं ना. So star-crossed lovers थे. मतलब these were like these really they were destined to be together. Romeo and Juliet. They continue to captivate the audience. अब ये लोग कंटिन्यू कर रहे हैं, कुछ तो कर रहे हैं ना ऑडियंस को, तो इतना अच्छा है, इतना अच्छा काम करता है, इसके कैरेक्टर्स का डिस्प्ले इज अ वेल्थ ऑफ ऑल दीज इमोशंस, देन क्लियरली दिस आल्सो हैज टू बी द काइंड ऑफ वर्ड व्हिच इज गोइंग टू चार्म. इसीलिए तो ऑडियंस जब ये सब किसी चीज में देखती है तो कैसे उसमें एकदम एंटाइस हो जाती है. सो टू कैप्टिवेट बेसिकली मीन्स टू एंथ्रॉल, टू चार्म. एक बहुत सुंदर वर्ड है, इट इज कॉल्ड beguile. Beguile is also to attract, to woo the readers and the audience worldwide. The 19th century ushered in a new era of literary giants. अब जैसे से 19th century आई, usher हुआ. Usher is going to be show. Because we're trying to be talking about it heralded, it started. Right? So it ushered in a new era of literary giants. So 19th century जब start हुआ तो और भी literary giants आए हमारे पास. Jane Austen's novel such as Pride and Prejudice and Sense and Sensibility provide incisive social commentary through the lens of wit and romance. So Jane Austen ने employ किया कौन सी दो techniques? Wit is humor and romance. पर इन दोनों को यूज करते हुए टूल्स की तरह वो क्या चीज एग्जिबिट करती थी? द इंसाइसिव सोशल कमेंट्री. सो दैट इज अब इतनी ऑल ऑफ दीज पीपल वर वेरी नुआंस्ड पीपल. ये तो ऊपर ही हम लोगों ने डिसाइड कर लिया कि फ्रॉम दिस टू द कॉम्प्लेक्स लेवल्स ऑफ नॉवेल्स ऑफ जेन ऑस्टन. तो मतलब जेन ऑस्टन कैसा लिखती थी? कॉम्प्लेक्स लिखती थी. तो अगर वो कॉम्प्लेक्स लिख रही है तो इंसाइसिव मतलब अक्यूट, पेनिट्रेटिंग, टू द पॉइंट, एकदम हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना तीव्र. दैट इज द वे शी वुड राइट. Austen's heroines like Elizabeth Bennet, Eleanor Dashwood remain beloved literary figures known for their intelligence and resilience. So इसके भी थे जैसे शेक्सपियर के थे, जेन ऑस्टन के भी बहुत celebrated थे. They have always been known for their intelligence and resilience. So resilience is going to be the strength that you have. इसीलिए resolutions करते हो ना तुम लोग, determinations. 12 तारीख को 31 दिसंबर को हम लोग रेजोल्यूशंस रखते हैं जिसको हम लोग 1 तारीख को तोड़ देते हैं. इट्स अ ड्यूटी, इट्स अ रिचुअल, वी हैव टू डू इट. बट अगेन वी डू अंडरस्टैंड दैट रेजिलियंस कम्स फ्रॉम द सेंस ऑफ डिटर्मिनेशन टू बी वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग. द रोमांटिक एरा ब्रॉट फोर्थ पोएट्स. अब इनकी बात हो, कॉम्प्लेक्स नॉवल की बात हो गई, सिंपल मतलब अच्छी सी एकदम कैप्टिवेटिंग नॉवल की बात हो गई. अब आते हैं पोएट्स के बारे में. रोमांटिक एरा जैसे जैसे आया, अब देखो ये भी कैपिटल में, विच मीन्स ये भी एक टाइम था. जैसे 19th सेंचुरी था तो शायद 19th सेंचुरी में ही एक एरा आया होगा विच माइट बी द रोमांटिक एरा. इट ब्रॉट फोर्थ पोएट्स लाइक विलियम वर्ड्सवर्थ एंड सैमुअल टेलर कॉलरिज who celebrated the beauty of nature and the emotional intensity of the individual. So all of these poets ने क्या किया? इन लोगों ने beauty of nature, that is they would always behold the nature, right? And emotional intensity of the individual, and they would also talk about the kind of emotional intensity one carried. Wordsworth, I wandered lonely as a cloud. Now if you see, this is with quotation marks, double inverted comma. हमेशा याद रखना, double inverted means self quoted, single inverted means quoted by others. So if I am to write what William Wordsworth said, I will use a single inverted comma. If I'm quoting something and the name of the person who's quoted is also presented alongside, it becomes double inverted in nature. तो यहाँ पे हम लोगों ने क्या किया? हम Wordsworth ने ही बोला ना, इसीलिए double inverted. I wandered lonely as a cloud. And Coleridge, the rhyme of the ancient mariner, are testaments to the power of the written words to evoke profound अभी हम लोग ने ऊपर किया था, intense, deep इमोशंस एंड इमेजरी. तो ये लोग भी किस तरीके से करते थे, एंड यहाँ पे तो ये टाइटल्स बन रहे. बट एनी विच वेज आई जस्ट वांटेड टू मेंशन दैट So now over here, both of these two people also have written such profound things, such deep things, and when you read it, एक imagery बनती है दिमाग में. That is when you are reading as and when, और दिमाग में उसी सब चीजों का बात मतलब उसी उन्हीं it goes in like a beautifully episodic manner. So it's a testament. Now let's see, testament का मतलब होता है witness, proof. टेस्टिमनी करते हैं ना लॉ में, लोग टेस्टिमनीज देते हैं, अपनी टेस्टिमोनियल्स लिखते हैं. बहुत जगह आप लोग ने देखा होगा, व्हेन यू विजिट अ प्लेस एंड यू कम बैक, दे आस्क यू टू राइट टेस्टिमोनियल्स. सो इट इज बेसिकली हाउ हैव यू विटनेस्ड द प्लेस, कैसा लगा आपको. if there is testimony लोगों की होती है, जिसकी रिकॉर्डिंग्स होती है, that is proof, evidence. क्या है हमारा, this is what it means. Moving towards 20th century English. अब ये पूरा 19th की बात थी, अब आते हैं 20th century में. English literature continued to evolve. ये अभी रुका नहीं, ये अभी भी evolve कर रहा था. Virginia Woolf's groundbreaking novel Mrs. Dalloway explored the inner thoughts and lives of its characters with a modernistic narrative style. So then we come to Virginia Woolf, जिसने groundbreaking novel. I mean, she had done a huge, that seemed to have been a blockbuster. उसने लिखा था, which was called Mrs. Dalloway, and therein she explored the inner thoughts. So another genre. So if you just see, how beautifully every person of every era has taken a lot of, initiative to be able to pick up, handpick, topics and produce diversity. Dystopian visions, as seen in George Orwell's 1984, provided stark warnings about the dangers of totalitarianism and the erosion of individual freedom. Then from there, let's now talk about George Orwell. George Orwell में अपने 1984 में warning, stark warnings दी थी. Warning in stark. So that means stark is going to be something which is very, very specific, something which is very, very visible. So बहुत ही एकदम भी विजिबली उसने ये सारी वार्निंग्स दी थी कि भाई देख लो, डेंजर्स हैं टोटलिटेरियनिज्म के, which means he must have depicted about it. Totalitarianism basically means the kind of centralized power that you have, total rule and erosion. तो individual freedom खत्म है, liberty खत्म है, totalitarian regimen है. So अब dystopian यहाँ पे क्या हो जाएगा, dystopian vision is going to be now the dark side of things. क्योंकि now see, until now everybody was talking about the beauty of nature, the beauty of human beings, the beauty of personality. Suddenly यहाँ पे हमने बात की, अब देखो यहाँ पे गौरी कंटेंट आ गया. गौरी again means dark. तो अगर ये dark आ गया तो dystopian visions हो गए. तो dystopian clearly means anything which is terrifying, anything which is hellish, anything which is now going to be very nightmarish is dystopian in nature. Today, English literature is a global phenomenon, transcending boundaries and languages. अगर कोई चीज ग्लोबल हो गई तो मतलब पूरे ग्लोब में हो गई, तो ग्लोब में हो गई तो मतलब कोई टेरिटरी नहीं हुई ना उसके लिए, और टेरिटरी नहीं हुई तो ट्रांसेंड का क्या मतलब हो गया, गो बियॉन्ड. क्योंकि अगर किसी चीज को ग्लोबल होना है तो उसको बाय डिफॉल्ट क्या करना है, इट हैज टू मेक श्योर दैट इट इज गोइंग टू बाईपास दीज टेरिटरीज. इंडियन ऑथर्स, अब इन सब की बात हो गई तो भाई अब हम इंडियंस की भी बात कर लेते हैं, क्योंकि हमने ग्लोबल एस्पेक्ट में बात करना चालू कर दिया है. अरुंधति रॉय with her novel The God of Small Things have won prestigious international literary awards. So prestigious comes from the word prestige, which is very respectable, reputable. The book not only explores intricate family dynamics but also delve is to dive into the broader socio-political landscapes of India. So see another genre. अब ये फैमिली को लेके है और ये सोसाइटी को लेके थोड़ा सा बताने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. In summary, so the author has also summarized what he wants to say. He's made our life easier. तो अगर कोई मेन आइडिया होगा तो हमें पता है कि हम यहीं पे फटाक से कूद के अपना आंसर देख सकते थे. English literature is a testament. अभी हम लोगों ने ऊपर testament किया, so testament is going to be a proof to the enduring power of storytelling. Enduring means something which doesn't end. And the written word. It encompasses an array of, array is variety, encompass means to be filled with. So it has a wide range of, topics, an array of authors, themes, and styles that continue to captivate and inspire readers across the world. So this is again from the top, from the first paragraph last line. we've again picked this up. So if I were to figure out and if I were to give a gist of what the passage seems to be talking about, here it is. I have it right here. Now that I've understood the vocabulary and I did not check the Google page at all what I did was मैंने माहौल से निकालने की कोशिश की एंड निकालते निकालते ही आ गया. कभी कभी हो सकता है कि उस पर्टिकुलर लाइन से मीनिंग ना निकले बट उसकी अगली लाइन से पता चल जाए कि पीछे वाली लाइन में क्या है. जैसे डायस्टोपियन हम लोगों ने स्टार्टिंग में नहीं किया, समझ में नहीं आ रहा था कि डायस्टोपियन क्या है, बट अगर मैंने कॉन्ट्रास्ट बनाया कि ऊपर तक अच्छी अच्छी बातें हो रही थी, वेरी लॉडेटरी थिंग्स आर बीइंग टॉक्ड अबाउट एंड सडनली व्हाई आर दे टॉकिंग अबाउट इरोजन ऑफ लिबर्टी, तो गलत मतलब नेगेटिव है ना. तो मतलब डायस्टोपियन हैज टू हैव अ नेगेटिव एंगल टू इट. So this is exactly how we tend to capture onto the ideas. And let us then try on to the questions also to see how well have we really understood. Who is often regarded as the greatest playwright in the history of the language? Now again, the moment we go back onto the paragraph, we had underlined greatest playwright. Answers reading comprehension में हमेशा territorial होते हैं, तो हमें पता है कि जहां इसकी बात होगी वहीं इसका आंसर होगा. तो greatest playwright कौन था हमारा? मिस्टर विलियम शेक्सपियर. So I'm just going to go on to the options and I'm going to see शेक्सपियर जिसमें भी होगा वो मेरा आंसर हो जाएगा. Let's try the next then. Which of Jane Austen's novel is known for its social commentary and witty portrayal of romance? अब passage जब हमने पढ़ा तो दो novels थी, तो कायदे से तो मुझे कोई ऐसी चीज चाहिए जो दोनों novels की हो. बट से फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर मेरे पास दोनों novels नहीं है तो मैं तो उसी पे अग्री करूंगी ना जो आंसर मेरे पास होगा. So out of the lot, which one do you think is going to be the right answer? Now I know 1984 was written by Orwell, right? George Orwell ने लिखी थी. I wondered lonely as a cloud was Wordsworth. The rhyme of the ancient mariner was the other poet that we talked about. So then clearly what is going to be our answer? Sense and Sensibility, because Pride and Prejudice and Sense and Sensibility were the two novels that were written by Jane Austen. So our correct answer over here is going to be B. Let's see the next. Who are the romantic poets mentioned in the passage for celebrating nature and intense human emotions? तो जब हमने passage में देखा था तो हमने दो लोगों के बारे में बात किया था जो अब क्या करते. So we had somebody जो society में बात करता है, फिर कोई था जो ह्यूमन इमोशंस पे, फिर हमारे पास पोएट्स थे जो नेचर पे बात कर रहे थे एंड दे वर सेलिब्रेटिंग द इंटेंस ह्यूमन इमोशन. सो नेचर पे जो बात कर रहा था वो कौन बन गया? हमारे सेट ऑफ पोएट्स. ये इंटेंस इस पे बात कर रही थी, वेरी इंटेंस. जेन ऑस्टन वी जस्ट डिड ऑन टॉप. So Jane Austen was known for its social commentary and witty romance. Arundhati Roy was the Indianized version of it and talking about the social, political, and the family matters. We had Shakespeare working on the other aspects of it, and Virginia Woolf. George Orwell and Samuel, he was talking about personal liberty. Coleridge was another fellow. The only two people who talked about nature and human emotions were William Wordsworth and Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Very good. All of you guys are going strong with your answers. Let's see the next. Identify the 20th century. So no 19th, it has to be the 20th century. Who provides a warning about the dangers of totalitarianism? अब totalitarianism की बात 20th century में आने के बाद clearly किसने की थी? हमारे George Orwell ने. So if that is what it is, something that we're talking about, so we know that it has to be George Orwell, but we don't have the names here. So clearly what are we going to identify कि जॉर्ज ऑरवेल ने लिखा क्या था? जो उसने लिखा वही फिर मेरा आंसर हो जाएगा, राइट? सो किस बुक में उसने ये बात बोली थी which has to be the dangers of the totalitarianism? Perfect. It becomes 1984. Great job, guys. And the last one, what does the passage highlight about the enduring effect of English literature? तो उसका सबसे ज्यादा enduring effect क्या है? It's talking about the enduring power. So we have to talk about how has that been continuously acting as an effect. So किस type का उसने influence create कर रखा था? उसने all over the globe लोगों को क्या करा हुआ था? Entice करके रखा था. उसने charm करके रखा था. With what? With the kind of diversity that it offered. So over here, its ability to win literary awards, no, that is not the enduring power. This cannot be. The diversity of its authors, themes, and style. Yes, the enduring power could be the fact that it offered diversity, and diversity से लोग क्या हो रहे थे? Captivate हो रहे थे. The ability to captivate and inspire only British readers. The passage said global. ओनली कैसे हो सकते? तो एक्सप्लिसिट हो गया. अब देखो ये बहुत सही वर्ड है, ये बहुत सही वर्ड है, बट ये बहुत गलत वर्ड है. दिस कैन नॉट बी एन आंसर एट ऑल. The decline of storytelling, we know that storytelling was on a increase. It was hiking. So this cannot be an answer. Clearly, our answer has to be option B. So see, they will give you gullible options. अभी क्या होता है, हम लोग दूर से देखते हैं तो यार ये वर्ड मिल गया, ये वर्ड मिल गया, फट से लगा दो आंसर. No, you have to give it time. You have to give it time to be able to know how to do it the best. Right? Okay, so Arvind has a doubt on question number 10. Oh, sorry, I'm so sorry. We missed out on question number 10. Thank you for pointing that out, Arvind. Very quickly, let's also do question number 10 and see. What is the title of Virginia Woolf's novel known for its modernist narrative style? So, Virginia Woolf ने कौन सी novel लिखी थी? Pride and Prejudice तो Austen की थी, ये Orwell की थी, The God of Small Things और Mrs. Dalloway में हमारा आंसर क्या हो जाएगा? वर्जीनिया वुल्फ ने लिखी थी. It has to be which one, guys? Very quickly, C and D. Which one should I mark? The answer is going to be option C. Excellent. And with that, we come to an end of the session that we have today. Now, I'm sure you guys have understood one of the ways in which how should you be picking up vocabulary. That's what we did. Going forward, this is what we're going to do. But I want you to inculcate this as of a practice. Nothing short of, so say for example, if I am to count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 new words is what we have picked up in this passage. Now you should write these words down and be stronger by these 13 words at least. So even if we meet every Thursday and we're doing about 15 to 20 words, that in itself until the day of your CLAT will account to a good lump sum number of words. But never restrict yourself from knowing more words. The more you know, the more you grow. Right? And with that, I'm going to end today's session and I'm going to see you guys next Thursday with another passage, picking out the words, and also something that we've decided as of this class's course, we're also going to pick up main idea questions. I hope all of this was interesting enough and informative enough. Until next time, guys, I'm going to see you guys around the same time. Bye bye.